Do you guys believe this is a fluke from the Celtics perspective of allowing this and both Edgecombe and Maxey going off like this, or is this a product of the Celtics? Like, what is it more of, right? Is it more of VJ Edgecombe and Maxey are just those guys and the Celtics are new, or is it just the Celtics, this is how they're going to be, and not only are they new, but this is going to be a byproduct of their team? How much of a fluke
I,
was this type of a night? Because sometimes we
mm,
see season openers, they do not correlate to the rest of the season
right,
whatsoever.
right. Which is why I can't answer that. Which is why I need to see more than one game for both
Yeah.
Edgecombe, Maxey, and the Celtics. But like, I'm gonna be honest with you, in like Edgecombe and Maxey had it going tonight. How many points did they combine for? Well over half
70.
of
Yeah.
70 plus points, well over half of Philly's points. The Celtics just couldn't stop these two kids. And these guys were running in transition. And that's where I'm talking about. The Celtics transition defense is not good. And when you're playing fast teams, when you're playing against fast players, oh my gosh, you're going to get cooked. And the Celtics got cooked tonight by Tyrese Maxey, VJ Edgecombe on their home court. They just got wiped. And this was a problem that I saw in the preseason with the Celtics. Celtics transition defense has been poor. It's been poor. And uh, it comes down to hustle, defense, all of that. But defensively it's going to be the conversation of the year. I'm afraid that's just what it's going to be. Um, Derek White is a phenomenal defender. Jaylen Brown is a solid defender, wants to become an all defensive NBA player. After that, I, I, I can't tell you. Josh Minot, and Ugo Gonzalez, who we saw 4 preseason games, look pretty solid, went to the scorer's table tonight and then never checked in. I don't know. I defensively, the Celtics have a lot of holes to fill. And if you're not in the biggest problem about the defense is, okay, they do finally get a stop. Okay, they do finally force a missed shot. But then they give up a rebound and it creates second chance opportunities and they build off that and they get momentum off that. And that's exactly what we've seen these first 5 games this season. And that's what we saw tonight in Philadelphia. The Celtics also lack of defense on the perimeter tonight. Philly got going late. The Celtics were not applying enough pressure to the 76ers. I can look at the offense. I can say, why did Peyton Pritchard take the last 2 shots? I could say, why did the Celtics miss so many threes tonight? I can look at all these things. Those are all things that I know the Celtics are going to figure out. It's the defense that I don't know with this roster. Are they going to be, or can they figure it out on a nightly basis? This team has enough offensive talent to continuously put up 116 plus points on a nightly basis, win or loss. But the defense on that side, I'm a little bit lost right now, and I need to see more than one game. So I do kind of like facing Philly in game 1. I do like seeing New York on Friday on the road. The Celtics need to go through I know I sound like Missoula, like, oh, you need to, like, you got to lose. Like, I love losing. Like, no, I don't. I love winning. But at the same time, like, if this team is going to learn, it's got to be early, and it's going to be against solid teams. The Celtics are going to see Detroit, who is supposed to be this up-and-coming team. They had a terrific year last year, and they're supposed to be an uprising team in the Eastern Conference. Some are saying top 4. Some are saying top 3 between them and Orlando. And you're going to see New York. So Celtics are going to face some high-volume competition in the Eastern Conference, and they're going to get a great test. And I'm looking at the defensive end because, as I mentioned, guys, we can do this on the offensive end. I'm not too worried about that. I'm not saying we're perfect on the offensive end and we have a perfect offense and there's no flaws whatsoever, but this whole talk is going to be on the defensive end for me.
No, 100. Oh, you go, Seamus.
No, Griffin, take it over on that one.
Yeah, no, I agree. And I think one big thing is you traded for a guy who is offense oriented in Anthony Simons. And that's the thing. You lost a big defender out of Drew Holiday. And this is one absence that you're going to have to continuously make up this season. And that's why we didn't see him play tonight. but Hugo Gonzalez could be an answer for that problem. Now, obviously, he's not going to make up the huge defensive loss, but that could be a key contributor, and that could be an answer to at least slow down the bleeding a little bit, I want to say. But again, I love what you said there, Justin. The offense is fine. The offense, they're going to have nights where they can't shoot completely. They're going to have nights that it's going to be rough shooting. However, the defensive side of the ball is what they really need to work on, because the offense will come. They have guys like Anthony Simons, who didn't have an incredible night tonight. I think had 13 points. And, he's more than capable of putting up 30. But they have guys that can put up numbers on the stat sheets. However, the defense, we need an answer. What do we do? What I have a question for you guys. What is your answer to that problem? How do we fix the defensive side of the ball? Because that's a problem, and that's going to continue to be a problem all season long. But what are your guys' thoughts?
Well, that's part of the question here is it a personnel problem, or is it the personnel that was out there on the floor tonight did XYZ wrong, right? Because because last year and the year before, I mean, obviously the year before the Celtics win the championship, their defense is at an elite level, right? And it kind of, it went down last year. Now the players are completely different. We know this team is going to be worse than the last 2 seasons. We know this for a fact. But to what level and where, right? And right now I'm looking at the defensive side of the ball and I'm going, that looks like it's going to be an area in which, because of the personnel, the Celtics are going to take a step back. And the essential answer to your question, Griffin, is the Celtics can get better throughout the season on the defensive end of the floor. They can improve on the defensive end of the floor, but will they ever reach that elite status? Likely not, simply because of who's out there, right? Simons is not a world-class defender. No matter whether or not he learned defense in Portland or not, he's not a world-class defender. I mean, he's 7-8 years into his NBA career, right? At this point, he's just not one of those guys. Pritchard, look, I don't want to be, anti-Pritchard here whatsoever, but at the same time, I look at Pritchard and say, well, no matter whether or not people, say he's a dog on defense, or whether or not he actually is a dog on defense, right? It's, half of the game film, half of the propaganda from the fan base and the media, right? No matter where it comes from, Pritchard is always going to own a size limitation. Yeah. He's about 6 foot tall. And that's just the bottom line of Peyton Pritchard. And that backcourt pairing right there of Pritchard, Simons, one of them is always going to be out there. That's going to be a weak link within your defense. And then furthermore, I mean, the big man position, that's part of why I look at tonight. Okay, well, if I'm thinking of how VJ Edgecombe and Maxey receive some of their points, it's at the rim, right? They're at the rim. And our back line help, and our back line, how stout is it really? And I'll give this out too. Luka Garza went out at halftime due to a potential concussion. He entered concussion protocol, so we'll have to see what happens with Luka Garza. That could have affected things a little bit for the Celtics, but Luka Garza is not a player you're necessarily looking at and going, okay, yeah, if Luka Garza's in the game, that changes absolutely everything down the stretch. I mean, it's arguable that Luka Garza would have even been in.